Good morning, students. Welcome to the online teaching session of Academic World School Vimitra. In the last lecture, I discussed with you the state of demographic condition as well as the occupational structure of Indian economy at the time of independence. I hope that you all have watched the video as well as you have completed your assignment. But here again, I will explain that in a very summarized way. In the last video lecture, we discussed about the demographic condition of Indian economy. In that, I explained you what is the meaning of demography. Demography refers to all the aspects of any population of a country. Means that, in a very simple sense, demography means that study of population. And at the time of independence, the situation of Indian population was not as required. Like the birth rate was 48 per thousand. As we know that birth rate refers to the number of birth per thousand, known as the birth rate. Death rate was 40 per thousand. Death rate means that the number of people dying per thousand live people in a year, known as the death rate. The third one, infant mortality rate. Infant mortality rate, the number of infant dying before reaching 1 year out of 1,000 live children in a year, known as the infant mortality rate, and that was 218 per thousand, in contrast of 44 per thousand according to 2011 census. Besides this, we also studied about the literacy rate. Literacy rate was very poor at that time. That was only 16%. 16% total literacy rate was there at the time of independence, and the female literacy was very negligible, that is only 7%. So that was the condition of demography. There were inadequate health facilities at that time. That's reason the air and water borne diseases that spreaded, and most of the people that died due to the inadequate or lack of health facilities. Poverty widespread because there were no employment at that time. Agriculture that we discussed, that was not for occupation. Agriculture was mainly the means of subsistence. Besides this demographic condition, we also discussed about the occupational structure. In occupational structure, we saw that 72.1% of people at the time of independence, they were engaged in the primary sector, whereas 10.1% people were engaged in the manufacturing sector and 17.2% people were engaged in the tertiary sector. Means that the main occupation of the people was agriculture on the eve of independence, whereas manufacturing sector and the service sector was at its infant stage. And by that we can say what was the condition of Indian economy. Indian economy was totally backward as well as stagnant. If we will compare the Indian economy at the time of independence with other countries, like in India, 72.1% people were engaged in agriculture, whereas in USA that was only 2%. In UK that was only 2%, in Germany 4%, and in Japan that was 12%. And if we will compare with the manufacturing sector, so the total GDP contribution of USA in manufacturing sector was 32%, Germany that was 39%, UK was 39%, and Japan was 38%. Today we will discuss the last topic of this chapter, state of infrastructure at the time of independence. This one is lecture number 5, and this video lecture is the last video lecture of this first chapter, Indian economy on the eve of independence. After the completion of this video lecture, you will also get one assignment, as well as I will share one PPT in PDF form to all of the first chapter that will helpful for you to prepare your notes. So please prepare your notes in the fair notebook, and that you will submit as well as you will acknowledge through the ERP. So let's start the today's topic, state of infrastructure at the time of independence. First of all, what is the meaning of infrastructure? Everything like building, roads, railway, hospital, etc. These are the signs of a developed infrastructure. And at the time of independence, infrastructure was quite good because Britishers they developed the infrastructure. But first of all, we will get the definition of infrastructure. It refers to all the elements of economic change like transport, communication, energy or power, and all the elements of social change like educational, health, and housing facilities which serve as a foundation for growth and development of an economy. So what is infrastructure? It refers to all the elements of economic change as well as social change. Economic change such as transport, communication, energy or power, and the social changes like education or educational facilities, health facilities and housing facilities, which gives us or serve us a foundation for the growth and development of an economy, that is known as infrastructure. When Britishers arrived in India, they developed the Indian infrastructure. But the development of Indian infrastructure was totally for their own sake, for the development or for the requirement of the Britishers, not for the people of India. And we can study the state of infrastructure at the time of independence through the following observations. So let's start. Please note it down. The first observation is related to roads. So Britishers, they developed the roads at the time of independence, but the objective of developing the roads was not for people of India but for their own sake. The first one is that roads were developed to transport raw materials from different parts of the country to seaports, as well as roads were developed to mobilize British army from one place to another place. If we will check the roads at the time of independence, there was the acute shortage of all-weather motorable roads. At that time, because whatever the roads were built at that time, that was for their own motive, not for the to provide amenities to the Indian people. Second one, about the railway. So the British introduced railway in India during 1850s. The first railway was started on 16 April 1854 from Bombay to Thane. 34 kilometer, the distance in between Bombay to Thane is 34 kilometer, and at that time there were 4 passengers. It was comes under at that time under the Great Indian Peninsula Railway. So 1850s Britishers introduced railway in our country, and the first train was travelled from Bombay to Thane on 16 April 1854, and the distance is 34 kilometer, and there were 400 passengers at that time that they moved from Bombay to Thane. We can study the role of railway or impact of railway that was introduced by the Britishers in 2 ways. First one is the positive impact, as well as second one is the negative impact. So we will write first the positive impact, and then we will study about negative impact. The first positive impact that was introduced by Britishers was railway facilitated the expansion of domestic market. As in the previous topics, we discussed that how the Britishers, they established their monopoly over the Indian trade. So with the help of railway, it helped the expansion of market at that time. Means that the market was widened with the help of railway. The second one, railway changed the outlook of Indian farmers as for them agriculture was not only a means of subsistence but also to sell the crops in the market. It means that railway facilitated for the commercialization of agriculture in India. With the help of railway, the agricultural goods that were transported from one place to another place in a very short span of time. The third one, it also enabled people to undertake long travels. Sorry. At that time there were no modern means of transportation, but when railway was introduced in India, the people from north, they moved to south in a very short span of time, as well as people of south, they moved to north in a very short span of time. So it enabled people to undertake the long distances. But there were also many negative impact of railway, and that was the main primary motive of Britishers at that time. The negative impact, the first one is that it contributed to the colonial exploitation, as mainly it transported raw materials from different parts of India to major seaports. The first negative impact of railway in India was it contributed in the colonial exploitation. That was the primary objective of the Britishers, and with the help of railway, Britishers were enabled to transport the raw material from different parts of India to the major seaports that was exported to Britain. And in the same manner, it also helped to sell the finished goods that imported from Britain and that moved toward different parts of India. It means that it helped to widen the Indian market for the finished goods imported from Britain. In the same manner, railway also helped the Britishers to widen their market in India. Now they transported their finished goods from the major seaports to different parts of India. And in the previous topics we studied that how they shrink the market for the Indian weavers, and they expanded their market with their cheap machine made cloths. In the same manner, the third one is that it enabled British government to control such a large country. It also helped the British government to control this large territory India, and it helped to transport the army from one place to another place in a very quick span of time. So these are the main following positive and negative impact of the introduction of railway. Please note it down. The third one is that ports. So Britishers, they developed major seaports at that time when Britishers arrived in India. So first of all, they developed Bombay, Madras and Calcutta as the major seaports. That there were two main objectives of the development of these seaports. So Britishers developed seaports to export raw materials to Britain and to import to import finished goods from Britain. The next point is that communication means. So Britishers, they developed post as well as telegram at the time of independence, but the motive behind it, that was only to maintain law and order in this vast territory. Britishers developed post and telegrams to maintain law and order in the vast territory of India. After all these observations, we can say that the basic motive behind the development of infrastructure was not to provide basic amenities to the people of India, but to exploit the Indian resources to develop their own economy, that is Britain. Now one important topic, was there any positive contribution of British government in India? If we will study about this question and we have to give the answer, so certainly not. If we will discuss it with the motive of the Britishers, then definitely their motive was to exploit the natural resources of India. But to exploit the natural resources of India, whatever the path they developed, that ultimately also yielded some positive points, positive side also, that we will discuss with the following points. The first point is the commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization of agriculture, Britishers forced Indian farmers for the commercialization of agriculture, that also forced them towards the uncertainties of the market. But in the another aspect, they also broke the outlook of the Indian farmers that agriculture crops or agricultural goods was not only a means of subsistence, but also they can sell that in the market, and agriculture became a occupation in place of a means of subsistence. Second one, new opportunities of employment. When Britishers arrived in India, they developed the infrastructure, they built many roads as well as railways, that also generated new opportunities of employment for Indian people in India. Even they also changed the rural India in some parts into an urban area, and that elaborated, or that also developed some more employment opportunities for the Indian people. Now the third one, introduced modern means of transportation. Introduction of railway and communication. Post, telegram, etc. So Britishers, they also introduced India the modern means of transportation. They introduced railway, they also introduced the post as well as telegram, that ultimately helped the Indian people. It means that Britishers converted India, transited India from medieval period to the modern period. Next one, control of famines. In the medieval period of India as well as in the modern India, most of the time famines occurred in the recurring manner. But when Britishers introduced the railway in India, so the food crops or food grains were transported from the areas which were not affected from famine to the areas which were affected with famine, and that was transported in a very quick span of time, and that's reason the famines during the colonial period were controlled. Next one, monetary system of exchange. Earlier barter system of exchange were there mainly in India, but when Britishers arrived in India, they introduced the monetary system of exchange that also widened the division of labor, specialization as well as new opportunities of employment in India. And the last one is efficient system of administration. Britishers left a legacy of efficient administration that also gave the reference to our politicians as well as planners at the time of independence. So these were the main positive contribution of Britishers in India. But we cannot negotiate that the main objective of Britishers was the colonial exploitation of India and the growth of the British economy. I hope that you have watched all the other 4 videos, and this one is the last video. After the completion of this video, you will again get one assignment. Complete that assignment on time, as well as as I told you, I will also share you one PPT of this chapter. Those students who are not having the book, they can read the main topics as well as main points from that PPT and complete your notes of this first chapter in your fair notebook. Thank you.